Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 18 of the Casual Observers. This week we are talking all about the difference between punishment and revenge, and also more broadly, what is punishment? How do we decide what's fair? And just basically punishment in general. So, pretty interesting topic. Here with me, as always, Jacob Clodfelter. Jacob, how are you?
I'm alright.
Have any fun anecdotes for us?
I don't. Well, I could mention that you've been watching Daredevil, and when you suggested this idea, I thought that it was because you had been watching Daredevil, which I heard is very good.
It is very good. Maybe it's subconsciously, but I didn't... They don't really... It's not like a big theme in Daredevil, but I guess it is kind of there.
Isn't he, like, as a character, isn't Daredevil pretty, like, righteous, like Batman? Like, he really tries to be justice and stuff. Wait, wasn't he, like, a lawyer or something?
Yeah, he is a lawyer.
Okay, yeah.
That's his alter ego.
Okay, well, there you go.
And, yeah, he's got very much the same sort of, like, no killing. Let's go through the system here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna... Well, we talked about vigilantes. They should just become cops. We talked about this.
Mm-hmm. We did talk about it.
If you actually have a
thing,
because, like, there's not much benefit.
Well, you can go watch our episode if you want the details on that.
Yeah.
We're not going to discuss that again.
Well, basically, especially if you've got a superpower, just join the police force. It's gonna be so much easier for you.
Depending on the superpower, but we discussed all that in the other episodes, so
That's not
move
what we're
on to
talking about.
that. It's not what we're talking about.
What I'm saying is Daredevil just joined, oh no, he can't because he's legally blind.
Right.
So
That's his issue.
He can't, even though he could easily prove that he can see better than a regular person.
Right. Did you see that new trailer for Ant-Man? I know you did.
Yeah, of course.
That was freaking sweet.
You liked it?
Yeah. And I had doubts about Ant-Man because I was like, this is a stupid superhero, and the original trailer was just like, whatever. That new one, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That
train was pretty great.
That was the one part I didn't like about the trailer. Actually,
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, I was like...
That was making me think of like the Green Lantern movie we had recently where I was like, are they filling this stuff in with like kids stuff going on here?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Because that was like a kid's joke. But anyway.
Well, I think, yeah. I thought that was weird too. Like, well, okay, you can't take a character named Ant-Man too seriously.
Right, obviously.
But you can't turn his entire persona into a joke either.
Right.
And I feel like they went really far with that one.
Yeah. Which was weird though because the rest of the trailer I felt was very serious. The rest of the trailer is what Ant-Man needed to get people interested.
Yeah.
Like that was like all the awesome like combat and stuff they're showing. I was like, yeah, I didn't even realize that Ant-Man was that awesome. But then they do that at the very end with the train.
And it seems like they're like sort of deflating their own, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like they're sort of deflating the coolness of them.
Yeah, I decided to ignore the train thing.
But I think it'll make a lot more sense when you see the scene in the context of whatever's happening around it, you know?
I'm sure.
Like maybe they can't get big wherever they are.
Right.
Like they don't want anyone to know that they're there or something. Right. Maybe something like that. That's what I'm thinking.
Which, I mean, except he was fighting like the main villain, right?
Yeah, but he was in a kid's room, probably his daughter's room.
Oh, okay, sure.
And so maybe like he didn't want to.
Well, I mean, what if the
neither
villain...
of them wanted to reveal themselves, you know, so they had to stay small.
Right.
Because you see him like getting big and small in the trailer.
Yes, yeah.
And using that to his advantage.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons me as a person who does not read comics, and I'm sure most people who go to see Ant-Man also have not read any of the comics or know anything about him. Like when I hear Ant-Man, I'm like, he turns small, what's he gonna do? But then they show him like, you know, like getting big and like punching someone in the face, and it's like, that's cool.
And then the classic team up is him and Hawkeye.
Is it?
Yeah, he's shooting Ant-Man around on arrows.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
pretty sweet.
That is pretty sweet.
And he gets stronger when he gets smaller.
Yeah, didn't they say something like that in the trailer?
Yeah. And he can actually get bigger too, but I don't think he's going to do that.
Maybe that'll be like Ant-Man 2, where he gets more powers or something.
Oh, yeah. You can, like, reverse the small powers.
Yeah.
Yeah, figure. Okay, we should probably get started.
Yeah, that's what normally happens at the end of the episode.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways.
We'll revisit that later.
Okay.
Okay, now on to the real subject. Okay, so Jacob, what is the... Okay, could you... When I say the word revenge, how would you define that just off the top of your head?
Taking an action with the intent to harm against someone who did the same thing to you, I guess. That was a really bad definition.
So doing the same thing to somebody else? That
Well,
they did to you?
no, not an eye for an eye, but
Right.
but doing the same thing in the sense that if someone intended to harm you, you take revenge by intending to harm
them. You can't use the word
them.
in the definition.
Shut
So
up.
try it again.
Am I just defining revenge here?
Yeah. Define revenge, Cal.
Intending harm onto someone who intended harm onto you in the past. There you go.
Okay. Now, how would you describe punishment? Intending harm?
No, not intending harm.
Okay.
Paying a debt brought onto you by unlawful actions. That's what I would go with.
Paying a debt?
Yeah, of some sort.
Is
Brought onto you by unlawful actions of your own doing.
But not exclusively money, though?
No, not exclusively money.
Okay, what could you pay in?
Time.
Okay. Anything else?
I mean...
Effort, maybe?
Sure, with, those...
Chores, maybe?
Yeah. I don't know, I didn't have to do chores as a kid. So.
Like maybe you kill somebody, now you have to mow their lawn.
Well, yeah, but...
Because they
right,
have to pay the effort.
It's more of a payment, but I know what I know what you're trying to get at to lead this in. What about how about paying with pain?
Pain?
Pain.
Well, what does the victim get out of that?
The victim?
Yeah.
The original victim?
The original victim get out of pain of the assailant.
They could get enjoyment of it, like in a mafia scenario.
It's their own personal enjoyment.
If someone doesn't, in a mafia scenario, if you don't pay the mafia back, they
get your kneecap shot.
Yeah, exactly. It's their payment, basically. Like, look, you didn't pay me. This is what's happening.
Well, in those situations, you still have to pay the money back. Still.
Well, unless they kill you, but...
Right.
And then they might go to your family, too, and be like, hey, we killed him, give us our money.
So payment can be in all kinds of forms, right?
Basically, yeah.
But the main one is pain, is what you're saying?
I'm not saying the main one is pain. No, I'm saying that's one of the suggestions.
Well, it could be emotional pain, too, like if it's time, like if you...
Oh, yeah.
Make somebody, let's say jail, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
That's emotional pain, right?
And not just... And, like, when you're taking away time, you're taking away, like, their life. And the same way pain is taking away their life. Like, if you shoot someone in the kneecaps, that's taking away, like, part of their livelihood, and the same way that jail is too.
True. Okay, good point. So, punishment is payment for wrongdoings committed, correct?
Right.
Now, how does that differ from revenge? Because, as you said, revenge is intending harm on somebody that harmed you.
Revenge.
In a similar fashion, they're paying something, be it in harm or whatever your revenge situation is, for their wrongdoings.
I think originally, in a revenge scenario, there's not an original debt that was intended to be paid or any payment of any sort. It was
whoa, back it up. What do you mean?
The revenger, the one taking revenge, is the one creating the debt upon the revengee, the person who originally intended harm.
Right, they're just making it up.
Right, they're creating the debt themselves.
Okay, so let's say that person, let's say me.
Mm-hmm.
I write down on a piece of paper, I say, if anyone causes me any physical harm, I will chop their ankles off.
Okay.
Okay? Then, somebody stabs me with a pencil in my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Then later, after I'm healed up, I go chop their ankles off.
Mm-hmm.
Is that revenge or punishment?
Okay.
Because I pre-planned
That's
that if
true.
anybody causes me physical harm, maybe I didn't even write it down. That was just always my intent.
Right.
That was the promise that I made to myself.
Right.
Anybody who causes me harm does not deserve to have feet.
I think the issue with that analogy, though, is that you, while it was there, it was predetermined before they stabbed you.
Yeah, I didn't make that up.
I don't think you, as a human being, have the right to say, you don't have the right to stop anybody from stabbing you like that. It's
What?
someone else.
I don't
in
have the
control.
right to stop anyone from stabbing me?
I mean, you do, but you don't have the right to create to take revenge on them. You can't create the punishment. The punishment's already created.
Right, I created it beforehand.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You created it,
Yeah.
but there's also someone else who created it called the government.
What's the difference between them and me? They're just people, right?
Yes, but it's a massive body of people who have gotten together in a democratic way and decided on what happens.
Why does their vote count more than mine?
It's just what people have decided on fair. It's like you could
So
bring
it's
up the
just-
question of morals
It's
there.
totally arbitrary, you're saying.
No, I'm saying
punishment.
the majority is the ultimate authority. The majority has decided that this punishment should be for this, and that's how it works.
I didn't. Why didn't I have a say?
Well, you do have a say in the government.
Not in how this individual is going to be punished for my personal harm. Shouldn't I have a say in how they're punished or no?
You could probably take it to court or something. But
I won't actually have any say in what happens to them.
You do.
I can only take them to court and whatever has been predetermined by somebody else.
And court is where you would figure it out. Figure out what's fair.
No, that's not how our court system works.
Okay.
Whenever a victim brings up charges against the other guy,
Mm-hmm.
what's that person called?
The plaintiff or something? I don't know.
Yeah, the plaintiff, maybe. Let's call them that. I think that's right.
I think that sounds right. I've watched a lot of judge shows. I'm not sure about that one.
So whenever the victim brings up charges against the plaintiff,
And the
victim doesn't have any...
and the defender or something? Or?
The plaintiff and the defendant.
Defendant, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so the defendant, the plaintiff doesn't have any say in what the punishment will be.
Right.
They can only aid in proving that they were actually wrong.
Right.
That's the only thing they can do.
So you're saying that you should get to decide what's fair?
Well, why don't I have any say at all?
Because
is that the difference between punishment and revenge?
Then you could take action upon the other person that could be considered unjust and unapproved on by society.
So I'm constricted
Uh-huh.
by other people
Uh-huh.
that have already came and went,
Mm-hmm.
who didn't experience what I experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
They've experienced very similar things to you, I would say. Or the exact same scenario.
But not
Someone
the
being
exact
stabbed with a
same.
pencil, I guarantee has happened before.
Yeah, but not with that pencil, and not in the same spot that I was stabbed in.
That's true, but I mean, you're really stretching here, Josiah.
But what I'm saying is,
the majority is the ultimate authority.
This is a unique crime.
Okay.
Okay, this is another issue. There's a wide variety of crimes that can get the same punishment.
The punishment or the crime is not totally unique.
Okay, should the crime fit the punishment? Should the punishment fit the crime?
Yeah.
Should there be varying degrees of punishments for the varying degrees of crimes?
Yeah.
Right. So you're saying yes?
Yeah.
But those should be determined by somebody else other than the actual victims of said crimes.
To keep things just, probably, yeah.
Is that fair?
That is fair, and the reason it's fair is because otherwise we would just get a revenge scenario, like you're saying, where things would just keep getting bigger and bigger, you know? When someone takes revenge on someone, they do something of equal or greater value. They don't do something of equal or lesser value. You know what I mean? Like if someone stabbed me with if someone stabbed me with a pencil, I could stab them with a pencil, but I'm not gonna throw an eraser at their arm. You know, that's less quality than what they did to me. So I'm gonna stab them with a pencil or throw a brick at their head. You know, it's equal or greater value. That's what people do when they take revenge. They don't go lesser value. And so if you keep doing that, and the other person feels like, oh, that was unjustified. You shouldn't have thrown a brick at my head. All I did was poke you with a pencil. They're like, now I need to throw a brick at your head or do something greater.
Okay.
It's only equal or greater when you're going with revenge, so that's the problem with revenge. That's why we have a set system to determine.
To prevent escalation of crimes, you should have a predetermined set of punishments for predetermined crimes.
Right. It's why an eye for an eye worked.
Okay, I'll get behind that.
To an extent.
Okay, I'll get behind that. Now, let's talk about this. Sort of related issue. You already said that the punishment should fit the crime, correct?
To an extent.
To an extent? What do you mean?
I already mentioned
in some cases, the punishment should be greater than the crime? Or less?
No, it should be of equal value, but not cruel or unusual.
Okay. Now,
which is, I already mentioned an eye for an eye, and I said it kind of worked. An eye for an eye kind of works, but not in the sense of, oh, if you poke someone's eye out, you get to poke their eye out. That's not how it works.
That's what I'm saying. Wouldn't that be exactly equal punishment for the crime?
It would.
You stab me in the bicep, you get stabbed in the bicep.
Right.
Why is that fair? That's fair. It's equal. Because anything else than the exact crime is going to be some sort of arbitrary metric that you're going to use to determine what's equal.
I think,
you see what I'm saying?
I think why it doesn't work, because I know what you're saying, yeah.
That's the only thing that could be truly equal.
I think why it doesn't work, though, is when you bring in morals into the issue. Well,
you already said that punishment is good for society.
Yeah, but when I think it's the moral issues that come up. When you say...
Well, punishment is moral. Now, we've established that. We're just trying to decide...
No. Punishment is not... Punishment is moral...
It's beneficial to society.
Right,
a system of punishment.
Yeah, but as we talked about in our moral episode, morals are subjective, right?
Or they don't exist at all.
Right, and some people would feel that stabbing someone in an eye is physical harm, and physical harm is not morally acceptable. Right? So that's why they take equal punishment that is morally acceptable. For example, putting someone in a prison for so many years of their life or something could be equal to someone stabbing someone in the eye. However, stabbing someone else in the eye might not be considered moral. If someone were a Christian, for example, I think it's probably against biblical code to stab another person in the eye.
I see what you're saying. You're saying we all agree that stabbing people is not okay, which is why you're getting punished.
Right.
Therefore, we're not going to stab you in the eye because the whole reason you're being punished is because we think that that's wrong.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Did you get were you listening?
I think I heard what you said.
I'm saying we've established we collectively think that stabbing people is wrong.
Right.
Therefore, we're not going to stab you back.
Right.
For stabbing somebody because we all think that's wrong. So we're not going to do something that we all think is wrong.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay, so then you get into this sort of what I'll refer to as an exchange of punishment.
Okay.
So wait a minute, just because we collectively think that stabbing people is wrong,
Mm-hmm.
that makes stabbing the stabber. you see what I'm saying, right?
Uh-huh.
Stabbing the stabber. We can't use that as punishment because we think that's wrong, right?
Right.
But that person doesn't think that's wrong because they did it.
They could still think it's wrong and still do it.
Well, in the moment, they didn't.
That's not true. I'm sure you've done lots of things that you thought were wrong. And
But-
still gone through with them because they were beneficial to you or
Maybe
you wanted
wrong, but justifiable.
Not necessarily justifiable.
Yes, everything we do has been rationalized in your mind. Every action you've taken.
No, I don't think so.
Yes.
No.
There's a certain amount of process that goes into every decision that you make.
Okay. But I still do things that I think are wrong and know are wrong.
Yeah, but you've rationalized why you are going to do this. You've decided that the potential reward is greater than the potential consequence.
Sure, but I've not rationalized that thing as being right as opposed to wrong. The thing is still wrong and I still know it as wrong. I've rationalized it to allow myself to do it, but I have not rationalized it to think that it's not wrong. For me personally, I've rationalized that it's of greater benefit to myself.
Right. Which is sort of like your subjective morality if you think about it.
Yeah.
So to you in that moment, you thought that something was worth more
To me personally, yes.
to you than that person not getting stabbed.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that doesn't justify you
Us
getting
to-
stabbed back?
No.
Why not?
Because in order for me to get stabbed back, the other people would have to determine, they would have to say, okay, in this moment, it is of greater benefit to us to do this immoral act by stabbing him than to let this guy continue stabbing people.
Exactly. No. Here's a justification.
But we could do something else.
Okay, in general, we don't like people stabbing people. Okay.
Uh-huh.
In general, but this guy rationalized stabbing somebody.
Right.
So, it's to our benefit to try and deter him from stabbing anyone else again. So we're going to stab him right now.
Or we could compromise. First of all, my eyes
I'm
are
just saying,
my eyes are right on those two things. Look at that.
Why isn't that? Does that not make sense?
It doesn't.
That's a rationale for exact
But
punishment.
one could argue that the more intelligent person would say, okay, I don't have to do an immoral act to stop this person from stabbing someone else. I can do something that's not immoral to stop them from stabbing someone else, such as putting them in a jail cell, which they don't consider immoral. Right?
Okay, I'll move on. I think I've made my point.
It's a bad point.
It's not. It's not.
A bad point.
It's not. It's
like I get what you're saying.
They justified stabbing somebody in their mind.
And that's what they did.
Now we're
that's
gonna
what
deserve.
Hammurabi's code or whatever, an eye for an eye, that's why it makes sense and kind of works. But it's also why we don't use it today, because we've come up with a better system. We don't need to do the immoral act of stabbing the other person.
What if somebody kills somebody? Should they die? Let's
No.
talk more simply.
That's not actually simple. I think that's actually more complicated.
How
But-
so?
Because taking the life of another person is massively different.
Okay,
Especially if you're religious.
you kill somebody, you shoot them in the head.
Bow. Huh?
Okay, we're not talking religion here. We're talking just free your mind, and just listen to what I'm saying. Listen to the rationale of what I'm saying.
I'm listening. Just saying.
You shoot somebody.
I'm getting mud all over your thing.
You shoot somebody. Let's say me.
You should punish me for that.
Let's say me. I kill somebody. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I kill somebody. And now as society, we're like, whoa, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Killing is not cool. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You justified killing somebody in your mind. We can't allow you. We think that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's not beneficial to what we're trying to do here as a society. So in turn, we can't risk you killing anybody else ever again.
Right.
You must die.
Okay.
And it's the exact same thing that you did to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Ergo, eye for an eye logic, your punishment is exactly the same as your crime.
Right.
Where's the logic break in that?
The moral issue. If
There is no morals here.
right in a world
They don't exist.
right, and if there's a world where morals do not exist, and there's no God above or Satan below or anything like that, or anything like anything religious, no morals
Okay.
at all, killing another person because they killed someone, perfect, you're good. That makes total sense.
So you admit that makes total sense.
I think that makes total sense.
Okay, I convinced you. I win.
Sure?
I've won.
It's not about the
Yeah.
destination, Jose, it's about the journey.
Not for me.
But in a world where morals do exist, which I believe the world we live in today has morals that do exist, because
well, the concept of them definitely exists.
Yes, because everybody has their own subjective morals, and this
which
world,
essentially makes it like they don't exist.
sure,
Since you don't have any footing to stand on
right,
in terms of yours, in terms of one being better than the other. I mean, like, what
Well,
right do you
we
have to
do.
tell me that my
we
you know,
do. We
sort
don't.
of- You
We
can,
have the majority. The majority is the ultimate authority on deciding what morals are correct here.
that, even
We-
still.
we
that-
while they might not necessarily be true, because the majority is not necessarily right, the majority is almost never wrong.
What?
Okay, that was a Protest the Hero quote. No, it's just I just wanted to stick that in there. But the majority might not necessarily be correct, but because we have a majority, it is correct in the sense that it is the most percentage correct possible because it's the highest votes. Even if it's like 51% think that this is correct and 49 think that this is correct.
How does that make it more
We're going
correct?
with the 51% because if something comes up, chances are that our moral code fits with the 51 with people from the 51% more often than the 49% because 51 is a greater number than 49.
You're talking about situational. You're talking about situational morality here.
Okay.
You're saying so in this society,
Mm-hmm.
at least 51% of people believe this.
Right.
So if we act on it, we'll have the majority on our side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a very practical. That's a very practical way of looking at things, and
Okay.
it's probably the best.
So I'm right.
It's probably
So
the
I
best.
won.
It's probably the best way to run. Now let me finish. It's probably the best way to run society. But I'm not talking about the most. I'm not trying to get at the most practical way to the most practical system of running a society here.
Okay.
I'm talking
What are
about
you trying to do?
I'm simply just talking about the most logical system of punishment that we could create here in this room right now.
Here in this room right now?
Yeah.
Well,
That's what I'm getting at.
I'm gonna
you're-
look up the definition of practical for you.
You're thinking, okay, which one of these will work best?
Mm-hmm.
what system will work best when you've got a lot of people and a lot of different ideas floating around.
Right.
Oh, the majority rules. Okay, that's great.
But so you're saying in a situation where we have two people with differing opinions?
I'm saying, no, well, sort of, yeah. What I'm saying is, what actually makes the most sense, not necessarily the most practical. You see what I'm saying?
What actually makes the most sense?
Yeah. Not what's the most practical. Because as far as
I think it's still the morals still come up.
as far as I can tell, the only truly fair way to punish somebody is to inflict upon them what they've inflicted on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only pure form of punishment. Because if you start talking about we're going to punish you in a different way
Mm-hmm.
than the pain that you inflicted on somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
well then you have a whole other ball game of converting one type of pain into another type of pain.
Mm-hmm.
Which turns into just a circulatory, arbitrary conversion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Which may or may not be fair.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to go to some sort of consensus building like you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about. But that's not necessarily fair.
But
It's very practical, like you said, but it's not necessarily the fairest way. How is that more, that yours not more fair? That's my argument.
it's the fairest way within the boundaries of morality.
Yeah, I'm just talking about in a vacuum. No society,
Yeah.
no nothing.
Well, then I've already admitted that you are correct if there's no morals. If there's no morals, you are absolutely correct. And
We've already established that morals don't exist.
Okay.
They're a construct of our minds.
Everyone has morals, though.
No, not necessarily.
Everyone has their own morals. Yes.
No.
Yes, they do. We talked about this in the moral episode. Everyone has their own set of morals.
Everyone has a system of decision making.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they have morals in the sense that there are some things they will do and some things they won't do. And some things they feel are right and some things they feel are wrong.
Okay.
What are you looking up here, huh?
Hold on. Texting. Sorry.
Oh, you're texting. You're not looking up anything.
Sorry. So yeah, no, not every. Yeah. Okay. If morality is a system of decision making, then yes, everyone has that.
Yeah.
But what were we talking about before that? Oh yeah, we're talking about punishment. Still, an eye for an eye is still the fairest way of punishment.
In a world without morals, yeah.
Which is the world that we live in.
Well, everyone's got their own personal morals. I understand what you're saying. You're saying, okay. Basically, what you're kind of saying is, if we didn't have a government ruling on laws and punishment, then we would just go on based on an eye for an eye. But the reason we have a government to determine this stuff is so we don't have to deal with that.
Eye for an eye?
Yeah.
Why don't what is there to deal with? It's an even simpler form. We're talking about eliminating lawyers, judges, juries.
See, it's not a simpler form because some people might see it as revenge, right? That's
what I'm saying. I'm making the argument that they're the same thing.
If someone stabs someone in the eye, the other person says, "Okay, now we have to stab you in the eye."
Yep.
But then there might be a third party who says, "No, that's not right. You shouldn't get to stab that person in the eye. I don't feel that that's correct, so I'm going to take revenge on you and stab you in the eye."
They weren't even wrong to this third party.
What if it was a family member or something? A family member could feel that way.
They still weren't. Okay, they could feel that way. That doesn't mean they're justified.
The original person not justified either. Because there is no justice, because there is no government determining this, right?
Okay, look, anybody can take whatever actions they want.
Right.
All I'm saying is, there could still be a government, but basically, You go, police, they're still police.
Mm-hmm.
They still investigate crimes. I call the police. Police, my neighbor stabbed me in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's look at your home video system. Oh yeah, look, there's a video of your neighbor stabbing you in the eye. They go arrest your neighbor.
Uh-huh.
Take him to a jail cell. Strap him down to a table. Get a pencil.
Stab him in the eye.
Stab him in the eye.
Uh-huh.
Back on your merry way.
Okay. Well, now the guy that got stabbed in the eye the second time, the stabber, still might not feel justified and might take it to an even greater length and kill the other person.
Okay, well now that guy, now the murderer,
Gets killed too?
gets killed.
But, think about this. We didn't even have to have the original loss of life if the person who got the stabber in the first place was just put in jail in the first place. They realized that he was stabbed in the eye, and so they're like, we're going to put him in jail and prevent him from doing anything worse. Because in order to stab someone in the eye, let's face the facts here, you got to be a little bit of a psychopath. So
That's a great. Now they can have a job.
What?
Now all those psychopaths can have a legal job.
Stabbing people in the eye?
Yeah, that great use for society. Okay, but the original stabbee. What if they think jail isn't fair enough? They could still feel that way. They could go into the jail cell and kill them there.
And that does happen in daily life. That does happen. Like if someone killed someone's daughter or something, the father might feel like the murderer doesn't
They get off on an insanity plea.
Right.
Whatever.
And that does happen.
It
does happen, but then
so neither system precludes the original victim wanting to get more revenge than already happened. But all I'm saying is, as a society, it's still the fairest thing is to have a exact input-output system.
Okay.
You put in this much crime, you get this much crime inflicted.
How would you feel? But let's take this to another scale here. All right. Let's say you're how old are you?
21.
You're 21. Okay, let's say you're 21, right? And a 34-year-old male stabs you in the eye.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
So then we take the 34-year-old male and we stab him in the eye.
Okay.
And you say, I don't feel justified. I only got to have my left eye for 21 years. He got to have his left eye for 34 years. What are you going to do to redeem those extra 13 years that are not justified in this action here? We're taking this to another scale. You could feel that way. Because you could feel that...
I could feel fine, too. I could feel totally justified as well.
I wouldn't. I would not feel that. I would not feel justified at all. I'd be like, this 34-year-old guy completely ruined my life from 21 years on, right? Okay, what if he cut off your leg or something, right? We're just using the eye as an example because the phrase is an eye for an eye. But you could say, at 21 years old, you could say, all right,
I'm not gonna have this
they
leg.
completely ruined my life from 21 years old on. Where he got 34 years of his life before his life was ruined. So something needs to be justified there. How do you make up for the extra 13 years?
There's no way to do that time differential.
I don't feel justified.
We can only
there.
do the exact same. It's just the exact same crime.
Well, I don't feel justified with the exact same crime because
Too bad for you.
See, that's not perfectly justice. Then that's not justifiable if the other person had a greater thing. Like we need a system of.
That's the closest thing.
We need a system of measurement here. Like
you mean a system of converting.
Right.
Punishment conversion.
Yes, because what you're saying.
That still gets into
what you're saying is that the ratio.
Territory.
You're saying that the ratio is 1 for 1 here, but it's actually not because the other person had 13 more years, and so it's actually like 0.95 to 1 on the ratio.
Well,
and that's
I was
not
going to
fair.
get to that because not all crimes can be perfectly divvied out.
Right.
Like if I'm a millionaire and somebody steals $1 million from me.
What happens? You steal the $1 million back and then. Wait, huh? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But
so what I'm saying is this is why it doesn't work.
I would still argue that it's the fairest of all systems of punishment.
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Because
I think
think about
you
it.
need a conversion
Think about it like this. Think about it like this.
Okay.
With your leg scenario,
Mm-hmm.
somebody cuts my leg off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 21. Let's say they're 31. Okay. You
Okay.
you could think about it in the opposite, where they're not going to. Let's say we both live to 100.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will not have the use of one of my legs
Mm-hmm.
for 79 years,
Mm-hmm.
but he will not have the use of his legs for only 69 years.
Right, and it's still the exact same thing. It's still fair. I mean, it's still unfair because he also got 31 years of his life with both of his legs, and you only got 21. It's
Right,
the same thing. You're
but-
just measuring the scale the opposite way.
yeah,
I don't know
but-
why.
Because that's where this comes up. We're not going to live the same amount of time.
Right, but that's
So
due to
you-
your own life quality and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So in the end, it very well might balance out. Because let's say if he dies at 80, but I die at 90, then it all works out.
Not really, because your life is much more difficult for 10 years than his was. Right?
Not necessarily.
Well,
Yeah.
well, then you also have to determine that, okay, for the 10 years between 21 and 31, those are pretty prime years.
Yeah.
And you didn't have a leg for like 10 of the really prime years, where he was 31 already. And by the time you reach 40, you know, it's kind of like your prime years aren't really there anymore. So,
Dude, 40's the new 30, man.
that's true. Dude, by the time we're 40, it's going to be like 40's the new, like 20. But,
Or, yeah, maybe.
yeah.
But you see the issue there.
Mhm.
So you admit that the eye for an eye is the fairest.
It's not. It's not the fairest.
Why? Why
I
is it not
think
the
we
fairest?
need to convert it.
But why? I understand that's your position, but explain it to me.
Because
Justify it.
because an eye for an eye can never be 100% equal.
Yeah,
so
but
we
what's
need to
closer?
find what's closer?
What's more? What's more? Mine's not
If
totally fair.
Right.
But what is more fair than?
if we find a way to convert it equally without any file loss, you know, we got a lossless codec here for converting. That's how we do it.
Okay, but you understand that whatever you come up with is going to be completely arbitrary.
Why is it arbitrary?
Because it'll eventually come down to what do we agree upon? How much jail time is equal to the loss of an eye?
Right.
Is 5 years? Somebody chops off my hand.
Okay.
Somebody chops off my hand. How many years is that worth? Somebody chops off my fingers. What is that? Somebody steals my boat.
Mm-hmm.
My quality of life is not diminished other than the fact that I don't get to use that boat. My insurance covers it anyway. How many years is that worth? You just get into
Well,
this.
physical harm is much. I mean, we
This
could
is a
sit here.
huge gray area.
No, we could sit here and figure this out, right? Like, how would you feel if
No,
someone?
you wouldn't.
How would
there's
you
no
feel if someone
figuring it
stabbed?
out. It's totally subjective, emotional to my emotional state. Maybe
That's
my boat.
true.
Maybe my boat is more precious to me than my diamond earrings.
And I thought about that.
Or
when
maybe
you,
a ring that my grandfather gave me is worth more to me than my house that somebody burned down.
Right, and like when you said, you were saying all the body parts and stuff, and you said fingers, and I was like, dang, someone took my fingers, I couldn't be on a computer, I couldn't play bass, I couldn't do anything, so it's like, fingers are very valuable to me. So I get that it's subjective, while other people, fingers aren't as important. But
They're pretty important to just about everything.
they are pretty important, but like if I couldn't play bass, that's it, dude, I'm gone. Like, I'm out of here. But
What do you mean?
just
You're actually not, though.
right, but
You'd still be here.
I don't know what I do though. I don't know what I do with my life.
Dude, you'd have to. Oh man, you'd have to. How? Oh man, could you? Is there? Oh, there's no way to play an instrument with one hand, is there?
With one hand, yeah. I've seen, there's people on the internet who like play bass and stuff with one hand.
You can kind of tap a little bit.
Yeah, they do like they're
what if it was your left hand?
There are musicians better than us, dude, who play with one hand. So I mean,
you got no choice.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they're pulling some whiplash crap. Someone was like, "We're gonna cut off your hand." They're like, "I'm gonna fight through this," and people are gonna laugh at me for only having one hand, but I'm gonna laugh at them because I'm gonna be the best.
I have seen this armless man who plays acoustic guitar.
They can do it, dude.
With his toes. I'm serious.
That's cool.
He's got a pick that wraps around his big toe.
It's kind of gross, actually. Does this acoustic guitar smell like cheese?
Okay, but you see the issue here. You're getting into like just a huge arena of sliding scales that could never be fully thought. Like,
but the whole thing is very subjective.
And then even
if someone stabbed me in the eye, I wouldn't. What I was saying with the year life loss, I'm still saying you were saying it's subjective based on how many years someone should get based on the person's personal feelings of their eye getting stabbed. I'm saying if my eye got stabbed and someone else's eye got stabbed as punishment, I wouldn't feel justified at all.
That's just you. It's already been predetermined by society. What you said is acceptable because the majority rules or whatever. So we all decide.
In that scenario, but if we're living in, and that's the greater way to do it because it's the most practical way. But if someone stabbed me in the eye, I would want 2 eyes from the other person at least.
Why?
Because like they were the one who initiated the trouble. Like they ruined my life, so they should be punished more.
What? Okay, is that just based? Maybe you feel that way. Okay, fine, whatever.
Right, and I would feel that way. I would feel unjustified if someone stabbed me in the eye.
It doesn't matter how you feel. We've already determined that. You told me that earlier.
That's what you were saying, that it's subjective, and so that's why you were shooting down my point about the sliding scales because it's subjective for everyone, and so that's why I'm saying the majority needs to decide. We can't have one person's feelings getting involved, and it's the same way here. If someone stabbed me in the eye, my feelings would be that them getting stabbed in the eye is not fair at all.
It doesn't matter how you feel. You're saying the majority rules, so whatever.
Right, and
whatever the predetermined punishment is, that's what goes. It doesn't. You've already established that your personal feelings on your own personal justifications for justice doesn't play into it at all.
Right, and if what we're saying is that the majority rules, and so it doesn't matter how I feel, then we just go with the system of punishment that we have now. The majority has decided that a conversion rate is best, and so the majority wins there, and so that's how we're doing it.
What do you mean they win? You don't. If you don't feel justified, you lose no matter what.
Right.
I'm saying that scenario.
You see that in like movies and stuff all the time, where people feel they need to take punishment into their own hands.
What I'm saying is your scenario can happen in either situation, whether you have a conversion system or not, or if it's just an eye for an eye like mine.
Right.
So what's your point? What's your point in an individual not feeling justified?
There is no. The point is that it's all subjective. There is no perfect punishment, so we're just going with what the majority has chosen. Because that generally has a more happier people.
What's logically more fair, though?
There is no logically more fair, because logically is an objective statement, and we have no objectivity here. We only have subjectivity because of how people feel.
Okay, well,
imagine if there were only 2 people on a planet. How would you feel if they stabbed you and you stabbed them back? How would you feel? Would you feel justified? No.
Sure, why not?
Because they initiated the crime.
Why does that? Why does the initiation on their part?
Let's see. There's 2 people on the planet, and you're both living comfortably, and then the other person stabs you in the eye. It's like, what the heck, man? Why did you do that? Like,
if they had a reason, then you'd feel better.
No, I'm just saying they ruined something good for no reason, so they deserve more punishment.
You said they ruined something good for no reason.
Yeah, they had no reason.
What if they had a reason?
What I'm saying is they both live comfortably. They were both 2 people both living comfortably on the planet.
What if he had a reason? What if he wants the whole planet to himself?
Well, then he's greedy and deserves more punishment still.
I don't understand why. Why does just because why does you initiating the conflict somehow justify you
Even
getting...
the fact that you use the word conflict and saying that you're initiating the conflict means that there's an issue. Conflict has a negative connotation to it.
Yeah, but why do you initiating the conflict somehow mean that that person needs to have more pain inflicted upon them than they inflicted on the other person, their victim?
Because they're the ones causing trouble. They're the ones that are... they're the ones that took something good and made it worse.
So that...
For no reason other than their own personal gain.
Okay, so for their own personal gain, they stabbed somebody in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
That automatically means that they need to get both their eyes stabbed out? I don't understand what your reasoning is for that.
Because there is no objective way to get revenge or punishment. It's all subjective.
Right, we've established that, but
right?
You can use logic.
You can't, because logic is objective.
Thank you. I know, exactly.
Yeah. So you can't really use logic here.
Yeah, you can. The exact same punishment.
That's so not fair, though.
How is that not fair?
Because they initiated the conflict. There has to be payment for that.
Yes, it is the exact amount of pain that they've inflicted on somebody else.
No. Okay. Okay. I get my eye stabbed. The other person gets their eye stabbed. Okay. On that matter.
Now you're equal.
On that matter, we are equal.
Now you're equal.
But the fact that he started the conflict first means he has to pay for the fact that he also started the conflict.
He did by getting his eye stabbed.
No. He gets his eye stabbed because he stabbed my eye. He needs to be punished for starting the conflict in the first place. Not for stabbing my eye, but for creating a conflict.
The outcome of the conflict was you getting your eye stabbed.
Right, that's true.
That is the result.
That is the result, but he started the conflict first anyways.
Yeah, but what did initiating a conflict detract from you?
I mean, got my eye
if he
taken
initiated
out.
okay, let's say he initiated a conflict but then didn't stab your eye out.
Uh-huh.
Then what's the punishment for that? Somebody initiates a conflict with him but doesn't actually cause him any physical harm?
Like an argument or something would be a conflict?
I guess you're saying that initiating a conflict is somehow separate from the result of that conflict.
I think it,
Okay, yeah, somebody gets in a heated debate with you, they have to get it. Somebody gets in a heated debate with you.
It's whoever caused it, right? Like, in a scenario where someone causes something to happen. Let's say someone causes...
What if you cause an argument and then he stabs you?
Okay, listen.
It wasn't a physical conflict.
Right, and I started the conflict.
Yeah.
He stabbed me.
Does that mean that you should now be punished for starting that?
Not me. First of all, okay, I started the this is the same thing as revenge in the sense that things are escalating. I started the conflict with an argument.
A verbal argument.
He stabs me in the eye.
Uh-huh.
Right?
As punishment, he gets stabbed in the eye.
He shouldn't get stabbed in the eye.
No.
Since it's my fault for starting the argument, something lesser should happen to him. If we both agree that it was my fault for starting the conflict.
Okay, you don't both agree on that.
Well, then you have subjectivity and you have all kinds of issues and you should just kill each other. But
you see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, listen. Okay, let's say someone. If someone indirectly gets someone to stab someone else's eye out, shouldn't the person who indirectly did it also get punished? Let's say someone spreads a rumor that so-and-so was sleeping with so-and-so's boyfriend, right? Okay, no, you're talking to a friend, and you're spreading a rumor, and you're like, yeah, and they totally slept with your boyfriend. That person gets mad and stabs out the eye of the girl. You indirectly got the other person's eye stabbed out. Right. You caused the conflict. You should be the one punished, and that person should be punished too. The conflictor should also be punished.
I'll tell you the difference.
Okay.
Whoever started the rumor didn't cause any physical harm to anybody.
They indirectly did. The girl, the stabber, would not have stabbed the stabbee
Okay,
if they weren't initiated inside them feelings of anger and revenge from the person.
By that logic, the manufacturer that made the knife that you used to stab that person is that person somehow?
No, because the knife was not intended for that purpose. Now
it doesn't matter. The
It
rumor
does.
wasn't started for you to stab somebody in the eye.
You wouldn't tell someone a rumor like that unless you were intending to get a conflict between them.
Okay, maybe you wanted to cause them emotional distress. But
Yeah.
you didn't intend for them to be physically
Okay,
stabbed.
let's bring up another scenario. If someone in high school says, okay, you should kill yourself, and the person goes and kills themselves,
Okay.
should the person who told them to kill themselves not be punished at all?
No.
No, they shouldn't be punished at all.
No.
Not even they shouldn't feel emotional guilt at least.
Oh yeah, they should totally feel emotional.
So
guilt.
they're putting a punishment on themselves. If the person didn't put a punishment on themselves and did not have emotional guilt, they should be physically punished of some kind. They should be at least reprimanded or something.
Well, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, because they caused the conflict.
It's okay if you're talking, if you want to get into these indirect, okay. Again, with the knife manufacturer, why that knife manufacturer indirectly played a part in somebody getting stabbed? Why aren't they involved?
Much less indirectly than the person spreading the rumor, though. This person
Doesn't
spreading the
matter.
rumor.
They're indirectly responsible.
No, the person spreading the rumor started a spark that continued down a chain. The person selling a knife.
They started a spark that continued.
No, the knife did not start any spark. If someone was going to stab someone, they could find a knife, a screwdriver, or anything. It just so happens that
whatever they used is indirectly involved.
No, they just grabbed what was ever around them. They didn't say, "All right, whoever makes these knives, they're doing a mighty fine job because I'm gonna go stab this person over here. I'm glad they made this." That's not how it works at all. They just grab the most relevant thing close to them.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
It doesn't matter the intent of the stabber. What his intent was with the object.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't matter if
it doesn't matter
who the manufacturer of the knife was or what they thought of the pencil maker that they used to stab somebody in the eye with.
Right. Okay.
All that matters is whatever they used was made by somebody.
Okay.
It could have been made by them personally. They could have got.
But the problem with that is
sharpened a spear themselves and stabbed somebody.
Yeah, literally anything as a weapon is the problem with that, though.
Yeah, and so whoever made whatever they use as a weapon is indirectly responsible.
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
Because they never started a conflict. A person spreading a rumor is starting a conflict, where a person making a knife for cooking or making a screwdriver for putting in computer parts or whatever is not starting a conflict.
The person who started spreading the rumor didn't start a conflict.
They did!
No, they just spread a rumor.
Spreading a rumor is starting a conflict.
With who?
When you're spreading the rumor, either you are getting conflict with the other person because the other person knows that you're lying and just spreading a rumor, or you're starting a conflict between the other person and the person you're telling the rumor about. The cheater and the cheatee and the rumor teller.
See, this is where you're wrong.
Okay.
You're somebody who's spreading a rumor isn't actually starting the conflict technically.
They are.
No. They are giving a reason, be it a false reason, for somebody else to initiate a conflict.
But a rumor is frowned upon in society, and they would have no reason to.
Sure.
They would have no reason to spread a rumor unless they were trying to start some issue, right?
Yeah, but they can't actually. Through the spreading of ideas, they can't actually force anyone to do anything. So it's still.
But they started the conflict.
It's still
the conflict is an idea.
It's still on the person to initiate that act of violence.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So,
okay, if I told you
even-
to go, if I told you to go stab someone, and I said, okay, I need you to go stab someone, and I'm gonna pay you $50 to do it, and you say, whoa, $50, that overrides my morals. I can stab this person and justify it to myself. So you go and stab the person for $50, right? You get in trouble, you get stabbed. Should I not be in trouble at all for paying you the $50 to stab someone?
No.
No? I shouldn't be in trouble even though I was the one who initiated the conflict? I paid you $50 to stab someone.
Wait, did I succeed?
In stabbing them, yeah. You stabbed them. But then you get stabbed back as punishment.
Yeah, that's right.
Should I not be punished for paying you $50 to do it? Or is $50, or are you taking the $50 as payment for you're like, okay, I'm going to get stabbed for $50 here. And I'm going to use the $50 to override my moral,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So you're
exactly
saying
right.
that I shouldn't be punished at all?
Right.
I think that's way incorrect.
Well, that's perfectly fine for you to think that.
Okay. Cool.
At the end of the day,
I have
it was
nothing
my
to-
decision. It was
Right.
my decision to kill somebody.
But I was on enticing you to.
It's still
Maybe $50 isn't as good an example. If
okay.
if it was
$1
like,
million.
yeah, if it was like 10 million or something, then I'm very directly saying, look,
Yeah.
I can make your life very grand.
Yeah, but you are still not killing anybody.
Right, but I'm causing a conflict. I'm the one initiating the conflict.
Yeah, but it's only whoever commits the act of violence that gets the act of violence inflicted on them.
And I think that's
It doesn't. I can encourage I can encourage 50 million. I could go on the internet right now and tell 50,000 people to kill themselves or to kill somebody else.
Right.
Some do, some don't. What? It's not. I didn't actually commit any act. I didn't commit.
Right,
any violence.
because you didn't put. It's the same argument between the $50 and the 10 million. You telling them to kill themselves didn't put much, like a ton of effort or like a ton of enticing reasoning, right? Where if you deliberately picked out someone and spent a long time researching them and being like, wow, Jacob, you're actually terrible at bass. You listen to the worst music on the planet. You don't know how to do anything with computers. You suck at life. You're doing pizza delivery, driving a crappy Xterra.
Ugh,
You're horrible.
The
You
ultimate insult. You don't know how to do anything with computers. I like how
And-
you added that.
And you know,
what? That's so random.
I'm just adding things that are me. You know, I'm using me as an example, right?
I know that's such a like
you-
all those other things are kind of universally. Like, people could see how that's an insult.
Okay, you suck with computers, you suck at delivering pizza, you can't get a girlfriend, you're fat, you're ugly, you're hairy, you're too white, you can't go out in the sun, you get sunburned, you're not happy with anything you do.
You should kill yourself.
See, if you said that to me, and then I did kill myself, and someone found out that you did that, in modern day society, you would get punished.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about responsibility.
But what you're saying is that you think that modern day society is wrong for punishing you for telling me to do that.
Totally.
And there's a difference. There is
I'm
a
not-
difference. If you just tell me, LOL, kill yourself, faggot, there's a huge difference between that and like intentionally giving me $10 million to kill myself or whatever.
What's the difference?
The $10 million is enticing me more. It's the level of enticement, I
So
guess.
it's one is positive reinforcement, one is negative reinforcement. They're both.
No. LOL, kill yourself, faggot is not putting much effort. I mean, the $10 million.
The effort is irrelevant. Actually, all exterior motivation is irrelevant
It's not.
to the crime.
It's not.
Yeah.
No. I don't think so. I think that's wrong. And in modern day society, we've also deemed that as wrong.
Okay. So, let me ask you this: you do something, and it unknowingly. Let's say you Facebook post. Hey everybody, I just lost 20 pounds. You should all get in shape.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And everybody can do it.
Uh-huh.
Whatever.
Uh-huh.
Healthy, love yourself, eat healthy, whatever.
Right?
Some fat person kills themselves because they thought you offended them. You offended them.
Okay.
They're like, I'm worthless, I'm fat.
Okay.
Are you responsible?
Well, the Facebook post was kind of positive reinforcement, actually, saying that everyone could do it.
Yeah, but they interpreted it. They thought that you were talking about them.
Okay.
Calling them fat.
Okay.
Okay? So you
I am not responsible because I
unintentionally-
did not directly entice them to do it.
But you did entice them to kill themselves unknowingly.
But there's a difference between unknowingly and like intentionally causing harm. Paying someone $10 million to stab someone is intentionally causing harm. Starting a rumor with two people is intentionally causing a conflict, intentionally causing harm between the two people.
Let's say you start the same rumor and you actually think it's true.
Okay.
You only tell one. You tell one close personal friend.
Where did I think it was? Why do I think it's true?
Okay.
Like, how convinced am I? Did someone else tell me this?
No. You saw some guy leaving some girl's house, and you were like, "Holy crap! They must be sleeping together."
Okay. Well, that's just my idiocracy, but.
Okay, you don't say that.
Okay.
You tell a close personal friend, "Hey, this girl left this guy's house. I think they might be getting it on."
Okay.
That person tells somebody else. In confidence.
Okay.
The rumor spreads. By the time it gets back to the actual people, your doubts, you didn't know if they were sleeping together, but by the time it gets to them, they know. They think it's been turned around.
You said that the person that I told someone else in confidence. The person who told someone else in confidence is at fault there because I originally said that I wasn't sure. So I was just making
they
conversation.
also said that they were unsure too.
Okay, if everyone keeps saying they were unsure, then it's never going to get to the person with full confidence.
Okay, but maybe that's enough for that person that this rumor is out there.
Okay, but
this possibility.
Then it's not
so
really.
your
no,
intent,
it's not a
intent,
rumor. If I'm saying
malicious,
I'm unsure and the other people are saying they're unsure, then it's no longer. It's not a rumor.
It wasn't malicious intent.
I didn't make up anything by saying that I'm not unsure. I didn't make up anything.
Right.
And so I'm not lying.
Intent, but because you told somebody what you saw.
Okay.
One guy stabs the other guy in the eye.
Okay.
A cheatee stabs the cheater in the eye.
But they could have seen it themselves too.
You indirectly caused.
No, I didn't, because I said I was unsure.
Told that person.
I said I was unsure.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
They need if they hear that they're unsure and they go and commit a crime out of stupidity, then they have an issue there.
Okay.
If I spread a rumor in confidence, then I'm just lying. I'm not lying originally.
Right. You're not lying.
There's a huge difference there.
What actually happened is nobody ever claims nobody ever commits to a lie or anything, but it's enough for that person. Okay, and they stab somebody. Why are you less responsible, even though you indirectly caused somebody to get stabbed? How is it different?
Because it's a less indirect. Like, indirectly causing someone, like, telling a rumor, trying to...
Your intent was totally different than somebody making up, totally fabricating.
My intent was not to start a conflict, where someone's telling a rumor their intent is to start a conflict.
But But you did, just the same.
But...
Totally different intentions, same outcome.
Okay, then, yeah, and that's why I'm not responsible, but if the person if they intended to cause a conflict, telling a rumor is intended to cause a conflict, not as an extreme of a conflict as it turned out, but they intended to cause a conflict of some sort. Okay. Whereas if I didn't intend that, then I am not in trouble because I had a different intent.
So we have to
if I told someone to kill themselves jokingly, then, assuming the other person knew I was joking, obviously, they need to know I was joking. Like when you told me to kill myself jokingly 5 minutes ago, I knew you were joking, or did I? But,
But what I'm saying
it's different.
On this argument of being indirectly responsible for somebody else committing violence, different intent. You are saying that we have to somehow judge people's intentions to know whether or not they're indirectly responsible, even though...
Yes, absolutely, and we do that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you can't ever know that.
You can't ever know someone's intentions?
Yeah.
Right, and that's why we get, that's why some people get, like, falsely accused and stuff, and that's why everyone who does something illegal, like stabbing someone, tries to say, oh, I have a mental disability, because they want their intentions. And that's where the system is flawed.
You can't judge people's intentions, you can only judge people's actions. Because by your logic...
But it's better...
It doesn't... You can't tell what the intentions were.
Right.
So, okay, with that rumor, with... okay, here you go. With that, I totally fabricate a rumor.
Mm-hmm. Intentionally trying to cause a conflict.
Because I want these two friends to not be friends anymore.
Uh-oh.
Okay, but it goes way past what I intended, and somebody gets stabbed.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't my intentions, and you're saying to only judge me off my intentions.
But you intended to still cause a conflict. You intended to cause a conflict.
But not that one.
Right, and so it's
not my fault.
You should be punished. Obviously,
it's not my fault that
you should be obviously. Listen, you should be punished. Obviously, way less punished than the stabber, but you still need to be punished to some degree, as we were saying, where maybe it's just emotional distress. If people can actually tell that you have emotional distress, or some other thing. If you don't have emotional distress, some other little punishment should happen to you, because you intended to cause conflict on a much smaller scale, so you need to be punished on a much smaller scale, but you still caused conflict, so you need to be punished. In the same scenario, remember, or rather the original scenario where we had two people on a planet both living comfortably and one stabs the other in the eye, the other person gets stabbed in the eye, but they also need to be harmed a little bit more because they caused the conflict too. They don't need to, doesn't need to be taken to the extreme, but just a little bit more.
So many things wrong with that.
I don't think so. Why is there so much wrong with that?
Because first of all, you can't ever know anyone's intentions. You're saying you should judge their emotional distress by the outcome of their actions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's impossible.
Okay, and what I was gonna say there is,
first of all, hold on, I got a lot of problems.
Okay.
Second of all, they should be punished to a lesser degree based on what you can conjecture their actual intentions were.
Right. If someone,
how do you decide?
If someone paid someone $10 million to stab someone, the person paying $10 million obviously gets punished a lot more than the person who started a rumor about boyfriends cheating.
Okay.
Even though the outcome was the same.
Right, okay, I've got all the greater than or less than signs. I just don't know what goes on either side of them.
Okay.
Because deciding what goes on that, okay, so you got this crime is greater than this one, this thing is greater than this, but I don't know when you say this crime, when you have to put an equal sign in there.
Yeah, you have no greater than or equal to signs.
Yeah, when you have to actually put that crime equal to something, then you got a whole barrage of what's fair for that. How should that be calculated?
So what you're saying is you just don't like the conversion rate.
No, I'm saying that
you don't like converting at all.
Well, yeah, because there's no objective measures to base your conversions off of.
There's no objectivity at all when it comes to revenge, though.
Well, there can be.
No, there can't. We already decided that. It's all subjective.
No, there's a semblance if you do my eye for an eye technique.
If that's not objective, though.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
It's 1 for 1.
It's the fact that I can subjectively say that I don't feel that that's fair means that it's not objective. There are no facts.
Your
objectivity implies
don't play into it.
Objectivity implies
a lack of emotion.
And that there's facts involved. There are no facts here.
What are you talking about?
There's not. We have
stab somebody in the eye.
We have no
object.
Okay, let me say this. Okay, all right. Let's say that there is a God and there are objective morals and stuff, right?
Okay.
If there were objective morals and someone gets stabbed, then we have an objective punishment for it that is objectively correct. But since we don't
Not
have
necessarily.
that,
That's not
we
nec-
have no objectivity when it comes to punishment.
Right, but there's a sliding scale of objectivity here.
It's not objective if it's moving.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, there's a sliding scale of fairness here.
Okay.
What I'm arguing is that there is a more fair way and a less fair way of doing things. What I'm saying is an eye for an eye is the fairest way that you can do things.
As close as possible, you're saying that you can never get a 1-to-1 ratio?
Yeah, but I would say mine is closer to yours.
Closer than mine?
Yeah, I would say mine is closer to perfect than yours
Right.
because there's so much less guesswork.
But people value different things differently. Is again what I was saying with where if there were two people on a planet, I would say the fact that the other person started a conflict requires punishment of some sort.
On top of the pain that they inflicted.
Yes.
Okay, and I would say that there's no way to gauge that at all. Therefore, you should just leave it out.
And that's where the majority comes into rule because two people cannot decide this. All right. I think we worn that out a little bit. Clearly we have differing opinions, but we're not reaching a conclusion here. I understand what we're saying. We just stated very clearly what we both feel is the correct way to do things.
Yeah.
But there's no way to find.
Won't you at least concede that mine is the most streamlined way?
Streamlined?
Yeah, and fairest.
I do not think so. No.
Okay, well, mine is more objectively fair than your idea.
It can't be more objectively fair.
Yeah, because...
No, it's subjective.
Yeah, because under your system, different societies will have varying degrees of... Like, they'll decide...
So right now, are you saying that the whole world should be in the an eye for an eye governmental system?
Yep.
And we should just throw away prisons and everything?
No, you need prisons for kidnappings.
Okay, sure. That's a weird one.
Yeah, somebody, you kidnap somebody.
You get put in jail for the same amount of time that they were kidnapped.
Yeah.
I don't think that's nearly as fair.
Also, for the money issue, if you steal money, then you got to pay that money back via work.
Sure. You got to pay back the original money and the additional, right?
No, just whatever you stole. It's an eye for an eye.
That's a terrible system when it comes to stealing, then.
Why?
Because the person... like, if I steal a TV, and someone says, okay, you stole my TV, you owe me a TV, then you just give them the TV back? No, you get punished for causing the conflict and originally stealing the TV. Causing the conflict of originally stealing the TV, yeah, they get their TV back, but there's a conflict that was caused, and so you have to be punished for that, too.
No, that's the punishment.
I'm stealing your camera.
No. See,
I'm stealing your camera, Josiah.
I already own the camera.
Yep, so I'm stealing your camera.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I got caught. Here's your camera back.
Yeah.
Alright, see you later.
No, but see, that was already mine.
Okay.
So, what would have to happen is, essentially, I would have to steal a camera from you, or the equivalent value, which is where you would work.
Right, but what we're saying is you have to get your camera back first, and then you steal a camera from me.
Right, but via the justice system.
Right, so if I steal a TV from you, you have to steal 2 TVs from me, one of them being the TV that I originally stole.
Well, no, I don't steal that one.
Well, I mean, you could.
That's just restoring me back to where I was.
Right.
But then, the justice part of it is
depending
me
if you want to
stealing
if you
a
want
TV from you.
Yes.
Which is if you either pay that money or you go to jail and you work to earn the money and then give that to me.
What if someone never pays it back? What do you do?
They'd go to jail.
So you increase the crime?
No, if they commit another crime by not doing it, then yeah.
Is not doing it committing another crime?
Yeah.
That sounds awfully similar to our justice system.
No, it's totally different.
Okay.
Under our justice system, you steal a camera.
You have to give the camera back.
No, you don't.
You get the camera back, right?
You don't.
You don't?
No.
Someone covers the camera.
No, if I don't have insurance, or if it was, let's say it was stolen from my home,
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily get the camera back. If the camera is recovered, then yeah. But if they pawned the camera, bought drugs with the cash,
Right.
I don't have any. Only if I've protected myself against, like, through insurance, do I get that back.
Okay, so I see what you're saying.
They get punished, but that punishment doesn't actually restore anything to me.
Okay, so I think...
Which is the way the legal system works right now.
I think the correct justice system should be somewhere in between the two. It shouldn't be where we're at right now, and it definitely shouldn't be 100% an eye for an eye.
I think it should be 100% eye for an eye.
I think it should be somewhere between the two. And
look, it would still be complicated to work this out.
work
my system out. But it would be a lot more fair.
I don't think so. There's a reason it didn't work, right? Like, we have done that system before.
Not our society.
An eye for an eye?
Yeah.
The whole, like, Hammurabi Code and stuff, and, like, there was governments based on an eye for a very long time.
Are you talking about, like, humans?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, human, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about, like, America.
And there's a reason we have gone with this system instead, because it's more practical. And I understand what you're saying. You're saying not in practice, but in fairness. Yeah. Sure, you might be correct in fairness, but
okay,
in practice,
you admit that.
Well,
yes.
Only in fairness is if you make it a 1-to-1 ratio still. I still think that if a conflict is caused, you need to pay in some manner for the conflict being caused, and there has to be a conversion rate.
I would say there's no way to value intentions, therefore...
And since there is no way to value intentions, we go with the more practical way than the fair way, because the fair way is stupid.
You just admitted that it was
only if we can do that. Only if we can.
See, you're still talking about practicality. That is your sole basis.
No, if someone causes a conflict, they need to pay for causing the conflict.
Well, I would say
and you have admitted that they can't do that. And because you have admitted that they can't do that, you're saying that your system's terrible.
No, I'm saying there's no way to judge intentions, because you're saying they should be the maliciousness of their intentions should be the basis for additional punishment. On top of whatever the results.
I think this horse is dead and beaten so far right now.
No, you're saying that the maliciousness of their intent should add punishment on top of the result of whatever their actions were.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm saying there's no way to actually gauge the maliciousness of their intentions. Therefore, it would all be arbitrary.
Well, I mean, someone wouldn't stabbing someone in an eye is considered causing a conflict. And when there were no conflicts before, in a utopia world where there's just two of you living perfectly comfortably, and someone stabs an eye, that's a pretty big issue. Starting the conflict means that you had some intention, some bad intentions, and that needs to be punished.
Could be to stab that other person in the eye.
Yes, but that needs to be punished still. Yeah. That starting the conflict needs to be punished, and there's no way to. There's no way to know. There's no way to judge how badly they intended to hurt you. It's less about. Well, there is for sure, like. This happens all the time, but I mean, like, if someone starts a rumor, if someone gets in trouble, if someone intentionally started a rumor between a bunch of people, and it's clearly like this ringleader causing all these issues between people, the ringleader is gonna get in some amount of trouble.
Yeah, right, yeah, sure.
Because they caused the conflict.
You're talking about the society we live in. I'm talking about what's the most fair system.
I think that's the most fair way to do it.
I'm saying you should only judge people off of the results of their actions, or their actions themselves.
And I think the actions and starting the conflict need to both be punished, and so that's the most fair way. And because It is subjective, and there is no objective way to do this. We've beat this dead horse a lot, and neither side is budging here.
I know, because
I know you want to be right, and I know I want to be right.
I don't understand how
I don't understand how you don't understand this. This is over.
I still think you are basing you're valuing your argument for its practicality and its likeliness to be accepted, rather than trying to get down to the nitty gritty of the fairest system objectively.
No, I have admitted that your system is the fairest if there is punishment for starting a conflict. But there needs to be a conversion rate, as we've already said. And because you are not accepting a conversion rate, means that you just don't allow this. So
okay, you know what? I'll concede.
You don't need to concede. We don't need to get to a conclusion here. We're fine.
Right. Okay, but
we have differing opinions on this.
Let's just discuss this.
Okay. We've been discussing it for freaking almost an hour and a half.
No. Okay. I'm gonna pretend like I agree with you.
Okay.
I email somebody. Say, look, this guy Jacob. I emailed another friend, Matthew. Say, look, this guy Jacob. I've had it with him. I'm done with his BS. This ends tonight. I email him that. Okay. Then I come over to your place. Okay. Come over to your place.
What's up, bro?
I got a knife.
What are you doing? Why you got that knife?
Try to kill you.
Isn't it Monday night? Shouldn't we be recording TCO?
You got a longer reach than me. So I'm about to stab you, but you push me away, so I only get your eye. Stab you in the eye. By this time, Kinsey's already called the police. They show up. You're stabbed in the eye. They find my emails. You got stabbed in the eye. I intended to kill you, but I didn't.
In the email, did you say that you intended to kill me?
Yes.
Okay, well that's attempted murder. And we have proof that that's attempted murder. So that's different, yeah.
Okay, so I only actually stabbed you.
In the eye.
Right. What should be the punishment for that?
Whatever the conversion rate is.
Right. How do you think that should be determined?
Well, you only stabbed me in the eye, so naturally we would take you getting stabbed in the eye plus attempted murder. And then convert that over.
Okay, we're gonna go through both of these, but what I'm saying is, what is the first step in evaluating the jail time? What the years in jail equals to a eye stabbing? What are the factors? What questions do we ask? How do we determine this?
I honestly couldn't tell you. That's what the majority rules determine.
So we just vote on it. We vote on it, or do we have a discussion first?
I'll probably have a discussion. Just same way a court system works. You have a discussion, and then the jury decides.
Courts are not a discussion.
Well, they are between the two main parties, right? And then the jury goes backstage or whatever, has a discussion about it, and takes their vote. Right? Isn't that how court works?
So you're saying that the punishment should be determined individually, now you shouldn't have a set standard of punishment beforehand? Is that what you're saying? You're saying the jury should decide?
I think that would be more correct, yes.
What?
I think it would be more correct and more fair to determine every individual case of punishment, yes.
Okay.
While it's not the most practical, I do concede on that part and say that it definitely should be a very situational case where we decide the punishment. Because there is a lot of subjectivity.
We have predetermined punishments for like a buttload of crimes. As many as we can think of. We do, because that's practical, but it's not necessarily the most fair way. The most fair way would be to take each individual case. Okay, this is just hypothetical. Okay. So, we take it. How many people vote on the extent of the punishment? What? How many people vote on the extent of the punishment? Yes. So you're saying that a very large under your system, somebody you go to trial. the prosecution presents all these facts. Look, we got these emails. Stabbed him in the eye. Sister was there, saw the whole thing. Who is going to decide the punishment here?
Normally it's the jury, right? In a court case?
No.
How does it work?
In our current legal system?
Yeah.
Well, just to be clear, I'm asking just for you personally.
I know.
In our legal system, the jury only decides whether or not they're guilty,
Okay.
innocent, guilty, or not
And
guilty.
the judge determines
The judge does the sentencing, which happens later.
Okay, I don't think the judge. I don't think the judge should have the right to do that.
The judge has. Usually, crimes have a range.
Mm-hmm.
Like for manslaughter, it's like 25 to life or whatever.
Right.
Or unless you're states, it varies from state to state.
So we have some reference points from previous in your scenario.
No, this isn't mine. This is all you.
Okay. No,
I'm not saying you have to.
You created the scenario where you stabbed me and stuff.
Yes.
And you're saying, okay, now what do we do to determine the punishment?
Yes, I'm asking you to tell me.
Have previous similar crimes happened to this?
Huh?
Have previous similar crimes happened to people stabbing and attempting murder?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so we discuss it. We take a look at
who discusses it.
A group of people, a large group of people.
How many?
Let's get some people whose profession is in law. First of all, got to get some people in that. Let's say there's 10 people who have a profession in law, and then let's say there's 40 regular people who don't. So we got 50 people total.
Okay.
Right?
So
you got a large group of people.
Who decides which people are going to vote on this?
All 50 are going to vote. But
yeah.
All 50 are going to have a discussion too.
Right, but what I'm saying is, where did those 50 people come from? Did they volunteer?
I'd imagine they'd just be random people the same way we have jury duty nowadays.
Okay, so they'd be randomly selected from the community.
Yeah.
Okay, so 40 random people.
As long as they are irrelevant to the case.
Okay, so 40 random people and then 10 random lawyers.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. And now, do they get to decide? They get to decide.
Not actually lawyers. It would have to be someone, because a lawyer's job is different. But you know what I mean.
Well, no, they would. Their vote would.
People who are well versed in the knowledge of the law. That's what
right,
I'm
but they would have equal votes, and they would just be there to help the discussion.
Yes.
But they actually get to vote as well too, right?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so 50 people. Now, do they get to decide They get to decide the guilt and the extent of the punishment as well?
Yeah. 50 people is a pretty large group.
Okay, so do they have to? So is it just a straight majority, or does it have to be a certain percentage?
I'm not gonna go with unanimous because 50 people is too much, but let's say like a solid 85%.
85%.
Yeah. So that's what out of 50? I don't know how many that is.
10% is 5. 1% is half a person. 15% would be like 7.5.
Okay.
So
50 minus 7.5.
Yeah, so
42.5.
Yeah.
42.5 of the people. Okay, so let's say 42.
No. 30. Wait.
50 minus 7.5.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So 42.5 people. So let's say 42 or 43, whichever number. It doesn't really matter that much. Let's say 42.
So it's got to be 42 or more.
42 or more have to agree.
That's a lot.
Well, it's an important issue.
Yeah. Okay. So they get to decide So could they decide for that person to be killed? So do they have any limitations on what the punishment could be? Or do they literally get to discuss and vote on it? On anything they want?
They could probably vote for the person to be killed. There's no limitations, but remember there are 10 people there who are well versed in the law and will try to keep things reasonable.
Right, but they could easily be outvoted. Also,
they can't. Not all of them.
Also, what do they get to vote?
And they have a discussion beforehand.
Do people get to suggest punishments, and then they vote on each of them.
It could be either that people suggest punishments and they vote on each of them, or people privately vote and then you take the average of what people privately voted. Either one.
What do you mean the average?
Like years to death. Like let's say life is considered a certain amount of years.
But they could choose anything, right? They could literally pick anything. They could say they want them to work on a plantation for the next 20 years.
That's getting a little crazy. I don't think they're allowed to pick anything.
Okay, so they can all. It's just jail time or death.
Yeah, I think that seems legit.
So it's kind of like our system right now.
Yeah, I think that seems legit.
Okay. I'm glad you
Well,
did that.
I mean,
This is your system, bro. Anything can happen. This is just hypothetical Jacob's law. Jacobi's law.
no, I think they should all. I think there should be no limit on the punishment, and they should all take a vote on it.
So jail time or death?
They all discuss it, and then no, not jail time or death. They all discuss it and have to come to an agreement of one punishment, in the sense that they could vote. Okay, this person, they stabbed someone in the eye and they attempted murder. So I think they should get stabbed in the eye and to spend 10 years in jail or something. You know, and they all.
They could decide that too.
Yeah, all 50 have to come to that agreement. So there's no limits on the punishment that they decide. Well, there's limits to the extent of like, you know, they couldn't be like, banish this person from the country, because that's not really.
Oh, why not?
That's not. Because what country would accept them and be like, you can't just kick someone else into my country?
You put them on a rowboat.
And send them off to an island, then they make their own country.
And then you send them off on a rowboat in international waters.
And they.
And you say don't row back to the U.S. Because we're not letting you in.
And then they come back and steal your ship again, and you're just like, argh.
Then they sneak in.
Yeah. And they get some gold, and they, you know.
All right, so you got
Were you just whistling that Whiplash song?
Yeah, totally.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I recognize that note. Yeah.
It's great.
It's good.
So, all right, so we played out that situation. Okay, new situation. I steal. Oh, here we go. I embezzle.
Embezzle. Define embezzle for me, please.
It's where you sort of etch onto something.
Really?
Kind of carve onto like a thing.
Really? Okay.
To like sketch. No, I'm just kidding.
That word, I was gonna say that word doesn't sound like. Sounds like what? Does embezzle just mean steal?
No, embezzlement is where it's like money laundering, but from another country.
Okay.
Okay, let's just go with money laundering.
Okay.
So I launder
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of crystal meth money.
Uh-huh.
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 I own a salon,
Uh-huh.
and the owners of the salon, I own the salon, but these meth dealers bring their money to me. I log it all, and then pay them like they're employees of me.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Got it?
I got it.
What's my punishment?
The 50 people decide. Not me. Don't
Oh,
ask me.
okay. Cool.
50
So,
people decide.
under your system, that's how it works, eh?
I would think so, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, assuming they find out that you were part of the crime, like, they don't just catch all the drug dealers, they find out you were laundering the money.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Assuming that they catch you, then yeah.
Oh, okay, so there's that. Okay. Wow, this is such a complicated system.
I mean, it's not the most practical system, but I think it's the most fair.
So you don't wait. So yeah. So there's no set rules. Like they just.
Yeah,
There's no
I mean, there's obviously, again, they can't banish you to a country or something, but
Right. There's certain things that they can't do, but they've got a really wide swath of things.
All right, that they could do. Yeah.
Okay.
No, nothing. No, it seems legit.
Okay. All right, interesting system you got there. Cool.
I know you're gonna come up with some snarky response, so just go for it.
No, I'll just. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right, see you later. Well, no, you have something else to say.
Wait, is there? Oh no, Better Call Saul's over. Never mind.
I was gonna say, when we were talking about it was the, and I guess we should bring this up, is the cruel or unusual punishment thing. Why do we have that law? Like, because stabbing someone in the eye and then getting stabbed, that's going to be considered,
I think it's a.
that would be considered cruel or unusual punishment.
Well, it's historically under our current system, yeah.
Yeah, is that just because of the moral issue? Because people would feel it's morally incorrect to do that?
I guess.
Okay, well, that's not very fair.
It's the fairest.
It's not the fairest. It might be the most practical, but it's not the fairest.
It's the fairest.
You were just saying it's not. You were saying the other way around. You were saying you should stab someone in the eye.
Yeah.
Right, that's more fair, yeah.
Yeah.
Saying that's cruel or unusual punishment is the most moral correct way, but not the fairest. It could be the most practical.
Based on your moral...
Yeah. And that's the system we have now because we go with practicality rather than fairness. I don't know why we were discussing fairness, but we figured it out.
Because it's punished when you're deciding punishment. Fairness is a big issue.
That's true. That's very true. And that's why we get why a good plot line in a lot of movies and TV shows and stuff is someone getting revenge on someone for a crime that they felt they did not get punished properly for. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You keep smiling like you have something snarky to say. I'm waiting for it, dude.
I'm waiting for you to ask me how my justice system works.
Oh, okay. How's your justice system work, Josiah?
Well, you already know.
Let's say the exact same thing happens. I email Matthew. I'm like, hey, bro, this Josiah guy, he has not put an intro or outro to a TCO episode enough times. It's bothered me. He needs to commit more to this show and stop being lazy. Alright? It ends tonight. I'm going to kill him. I email Matthew. I drive over to your house, get detoured again because you have that road construction on the side of your house. Have to go all the way around, get to your house, attempt to stab you, but you're stronger than me, so you can force me a little bit back, and then you are stronger and faster, so somehow the knife slips and ends up in your eye. Ruthie's there. She calls the police. Standard stuff. And then, what would happen from there, Josiah?
Well, you would be brought before a judge.
Okay.
You'd have a lawyer.
Okay.
I'd have a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a lawyer, one will be provided for you. You can afford it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have the right to remain silent.
Then the evidence would be presented.
Mm-hmm.
Then, witnesses would be talked to, blah, 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 blah. It would go a route like a regular court case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then, the judge, or jury, depending on which one you choose, would be like, yep, he did it, he's guilty. Then, the judge would be like, alright, take him to the punishing center. Take him to the, it would probably be called like a justice facility.
Yeah. Can we call it something more metal though? Like the
what?
I don't know actually. Can't come up with anything good. What's a really metal name for a place where they harm people?
The guillotine of truth.
The punishment chamber.
The chambers of justice.
Chambers of justice. It's like a terrible. It's terrible. I was gonna say it's a terrible like power metal album or something. Chambers of justice.
Yes. So you're pronounced guilty by a jury of your peers. 12. You have to have 80% consensus.
80%.
Yep.
Okay.
How do you like that?
I don't know. Isn't it normally with jury? Doesn't it have to be unanimous?
Only on certain. If the crime, if you can get like maximum. So the crimes have ranges of punishments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which the judge decides, and so if you have, if you're in a state where you can have the death penalty or like 25 to life or whatever, then it has to be unanimous.
Okay. Anyways,
but for anything lower than that, or there's like different thresholds, I think. You know, you get what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay,
so they take you to the punishment chamber.
So you get found guilty.
Yeah.
You get found guilty. And you go to the so you still got the same issues of, burden of proof and all that. But if you're found guilty, you go to the chambers of justice. Get your eye stabbed.
Then what?
Then they
send me on my merry way.
It's a surgical team.
Okay.
That stabs you in the eye. Surgical. You get patched up, and they send you home.
I assume they'd have to stab me with the same type of knife I stabbed you to keep things fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
And then send me on my merry way? Yep. What about the fact that I had attempted murder on you?
You only get punished for the actions. You only get punished for the actions that you actually took, not for your intended actions.
Okay. Well, at least we figured out that we disagree on this issue. I mean, is there anything else you need to add to this, or can we end this?
No, we're good.
Okay. If you agree with Josiah, leave it in the comments below, or post it to Facebook or anything like that. If you agree with me, same thing. Put it in the comments. You can email us and tell us more about your opinion if you want us to do a follow-up on this episode, and we can do that. This was actually a pretty good episode. I'm impressed, even though.
Thank you. I always come up with the best topics.
You're pretty solid with that, yeah. You have an ego too. But take a comment, like, favorite, subscribe, add me on Facebook, add him on Facebook, follow him on Twitter.
NurianLindale.twitch.tv.com.
Yeah, I'll probably be streaming some Magic at some point.
You should post the links in our description.
What do you mean?
You should post links to all our stuff.
In every video's description?
Yeah.
We did that with like the first episode, and I figured you would, since you're the one that uploads to YouTube and everything.
Yeah, I figured that could be your thing that you do.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that.
You literally just copy and paste.
I could, yeah. I'll do that, actually.
Do you ever look at the videos when they're uploaded?
Yeah. I never log in. I just, like, go there on a different thing to see.
Oh, because I was going to tell you, if you log in, you can see the stuff as soon as I start uploading it.
Really?
You can look at the progress, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And then you can make changes while it's uploading, too.
You've done that from another computer before? Oh, that's cool.
You can see the progress and change, like, the status of it, like, publish it, make it private or unlisted, and change the title and stuff.
Seems cool.
Yeah.
Alright, anything
It'll
else?
show up in the video manager.
Right. Anything else you want to add? Or can we end this?
No, Daredevil was awesome.
How many episodes is it?
13.
And you've watched it all?
Yep.
Okay, I've heard very good things about Daredevil.
I just totally burned through it, man. I want to watch it again.
Are the 30 minutes or 45?
They're 50 minutes.
Okay.
Or 6 or
whatever the hour equivalent is.
No, they're 50 minutes. They're between 50 and 60 minutes every single one.
Okay. Cool.
So, I think most of them are less than 60 minutes, but yeah, some of them are like almost an hour. And obviously, there's no commercials. Netflix doesn't release any data about their their view counts or anything.
Really?
Yeah, totally. Nobody knows.
I wonder why.
Probably they don't have to.
I guess.
Like if you're as a TV station, those are recorded by third party. And they have to be.
Right.
Because that determines the price that you sell ads for stuff, right? But Netflix, on their all that stuff, especially their original content that they're making, they don't care. Or they do care. But
I'm sure that's very determinant in like what they keep on Netflix and stuff, though. Which you would think they might want to make public, so people will like maybe watch some of the stuff that they see is not doing too hot or something.
well, I
Or
think
watch things that are doing
you
hot.
wouldn't want anyone to know that stuff isn't popular.
Why?
You would just want to push it on people no matter what. You see what I'm saying?
I guess, yeah.
Like how
I don't know. Like if you could see that something was like unpopular, but you wanted to watch it, you'd be like, oh, that might be getting cut soon, so I want to watch it.
But you know, it just if it gets cut, that just means there's not gonna be any more episodes. Doesn't mean that you can't.
No, like a movie or something, you know. Or like King of the Hill, I know was on Netflix for a long time, and then they got rid of it. And did they bring it back? I'm not sure. I think I heard something about them bringing it back. But
Well, there's a lot of seasons of that.
like 9, I think.
Were they all in there?
Yeah.
Oh, I also watched on the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Don't know what that is.
It's got the. Do you ever watch The Office?
Yes.
The news Erin, the redheaded secretary.
Yeah.
She's the main. It's
Okay.
a pretty funny premise. It's like, she was in like a bunker. She was in like an underground. She was part of a cult,
Mhm.
and she lived underground for like 15 years.
Mhm.
Then the show starts like right at the beginning. They get out, and it's about like her. Like it's like a very light like comedy.
I think
sitcom.
I have heard of it actually. Now that you mention it, but
Yeah, it's written by Tina Fey, and it's got that girl in it, and a lot of other female. It's a little sentimental. Like it's like, you know, yeah, we can do this, and like.
is it all girly and stuff?
Yeah, they are sort of playing to the female audience. I feel like, but it's like it's a really light sitcom. It's not like, and there's like social commentary and stuff about like, because you know she's like everything's new to her and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, why do people, you know, why is society doing this to themselves and stuff? You know, a lot of that and stuff.
We get enough of that from Captain America.
This is a whole show about it though. So.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they play more for the jokes than any sort of social commentary, but
right.
a lot of it is like her, like the end, like usually at the end of every episode, she's like something's got her down, like she can't do something, but then at the end, you know, she's like, oh no, I can't do this, because I'm strong. I'm unbreakable.
I get what you're
Unbreakable
going with
Kimmy
this.
Schmidt.
I watched the first episode of Parks and Rec.
Oh yeah, what'd you think?
Not impressed.
Yeah, the first season is kind of, I don't know.
I'm glad you're saying that at least. Because
Yeah.
everyone always talks about how good that show is, and I watched the first episode and I was just like not laughing, and
Yeah,
I was
the
like, I don't know
pilot,
what's going on here.
I don't know if somebody else wrote that or something, but like the farther, I honestly think it gets funnier the farther you get into it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the first half, is it a full season? The first season?
I have no idea.
I think it might have been a half
I
season.
didn't download it. I just streamed the first episode because I was wary of it.
Yeah, like it gets so much funnier because like that first episode, nobody's like into their characters yet, and like as they start establishing like everyone's like character traits and stuff, they just really push the boundaries of like everyone gets more and more and more extreme.
So there's Flanderization of the characters.
Define Flander?
No, that's a term. Like I see people use that term all the time. It's called like Flanderization, I think. It's when
But Flanderization is like the verb to the wait.
I don't think Flander's a word. I think yeah, it's not a word.
Only Flanderization is?
Yeah, I think it's in reference to Flanders from
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
From Simpsons.
Oh, I
it's
see.
it's a TV trope, and what it is when there's a character that was made a certain way. Flanders being like a Christian, it's over time, the character becomes solely that one aspect. Where Flanders became solely the Christian, like the nutty Christian character, as opposed to any other dimensions about him.
Okay.
So that's what I was saying.
Yeah, it's sort of like that, but they constantly put Yeah, they go like really extreme, right? But then they'll like start putting everyone in like weird situations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, oh, you know, where like you know their personality, right? So you know how they should react. But then sometimes they don't. That's how.
Sometimes they don't.
So, yeah.
It's a good ending. All right.
Pretty
See
exciting
you guys
stuff.
later.
You not watching anything else?
No, I mean, well, I already told you, but I guess I'll tell them. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy and Whiplash.
Oh, I got a poster of Guardians.
You got a poster of Guardians right there.
That you can't see.
You can see a tiny bit of it. You can see like the ship or something maybe, but.
Pretty good, eh? Both of those.
Guardians was not great.
Whiplash, though, how about that?
Whiplash was fantastic. Well, okay. Spoilers. Whiplash spoilers coming up. So if you haven't seen it,
wow,
go watch it instead of watching this episode. Actually, spoilers.
Yeah,
so.
you could have watched it.
Yeah, you could have. It's actually an hour and 45 minutes if I remember correctly. But okay, the scene where he gets hit by the truck, right? Anyways,
yeah.
The scene where he gets hit by the truck.
When he's in that rental car?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Can we both agree that that scene was like forced pretty hard? Like we know that they're trying to make it show how determined he is and how hard he's trying and stuff, but that was like so like when I saw that scene I was like, all right, this is like cheesy Christian movie, like the bad guy getting hit by a truck because he wasn't saved or something. That's how that scene made me feel. Like,
have you seen God's Not Dead?
I have, and that's what it made me think of when he got hit by the truck.
I thought that was pretty ballsy of them in God's Not Dead to do that. It was like, whoa, you're gonna kill off the mean unchristian guy, like.
And there was nothing wrong with that in Whiplash. Maybe I'm just a little spoiled in that area or something. I was like, they're pushing it a little too hard.
Well, I feel like the whole movie is like a lot of. Well, I guess that was sort of like random chance.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, he was driving recklessly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was driving.
There you go.
And so and right and I still think the movie's great. Obviously, I have no issue with that. And what I thought was, like, when I saw him get hit by the car, I was like, are they seriously doing this now? And I thought for sure he was going to lose out because he got hit by the car because he was driving recklessly because he was trying to get there, so he was going to go to the hospital and stuff. And then he gets out of the car and starts running to the place. And I was like, all right, that's cool. Like, that was pretty original. Like, he was clearly, he got hit by a car, so he clearly has a ton of adrenaline going through him. And so he goes on stage just to, like, drum it out with a bunch of adrenaline rush and stuff. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool.
You know what scene I thought was kind of weird was when his family is over and he's having dinner.
Mm-hmm. I love that scene.
It was great, right? Like great writing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like I totally know like how he feels in that situation,
right?
Because it's like you're into this like weird side thing that nobody else cares about,
right?
And like you kind of want to talk about it, but nobody really understands it, or nor do they really want to, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
You know? And like I was like, okay, that's cool. And then he like has this moment where he kind of like tells everybody off, right? But like he seemed like way over like up until that point, he had been like this really shy guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, where did this guy come from? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're being so confident and brash, you know? And it's like, you've never hinted that you've got this dark, and that was pretty early on. So then you sort of see that flare up again later, like different times throughout later in the movie. So it's like, oh, okay. But I just felt like he just like snaps at that dinner table.
Well, see, what I think is it was less of him just like snapping. Like, he did snap, but it wasn't just like, I think there was a build-up, but we didn't see it. And I felt like this throughout the whole movie. They were trying to put a very like grand timeline into a much smaller scale than we were able to see. And I was gonna bring this up too with his girlfriend. Like when you read the description of the movie, they talk about his they say it's like a coming of age movie or something, and they talk about him having to decide between like his girlfriend and stuff. And I remember reading that in the description, and there's like 3 scenes total where we see that girl, and that's because the whole movie there's so much happening that they just didn't have time. Like I remember there's one scene where she texts him like, hey, you want to go on a date or something, and we don't actually see them go on a date, and we're like, okay, so did he ignore her and something? And they don't really tell us about that, and later we see him like dump her or whatever, so we just have to assume, I guess, that they were dating. But I think because they
go on a date, you see them on a date.
Which
was really awkward. They go to like
to the pizza place, right? But yeah, and we have 5 scenes. The one scene where we initially meet the girl, where he goes to the movies with his dad. Yeah. The scene where he asks her out, which was super awkward. The scene where he goes on a date with her to the pizza place. Mm-hmm. And again, the dinner thing was happening where he wanted to talk about jazz and stuff, and she didn't want to have anything to do with it, which I thought was cool.
Wait, but what? She wasn't there at that moment?
No, I'm saying he was eating pizza with her, and it was the same thing that happened when he was with his family. You could tell that he was really excited when he mentioned like the stuff that he was doing at school, and she was just like, yeah, that's cool or whatever. But then, then we get a 4th scene where he's riding home on the bus after like practice at J.K. Simmons' thing or whatever, and he gets a text from her, and we see it's like, LOL, what you doing tonight or whatever. I don't remember what it said, but it was asking her to date or go on a date or something. And then we don't see her again until he breaks up with her. We really didn't see that girl very much at all. Like we had 2 main scenes with her.
Don't they meet in a diner? Oh, that's when he breaks up with her.
Yeah, he breaks up with her there. We really don't see that girl very much at all.
You don't see her at the theater again?
No. He only goes to the theater twice.
After he breaks up with her, he calls her and then you don't see her again?
He calls her and we get her voice, and that's it.
That girl's gonna be Supergirl.
Is she? Yeah. What's funny about you saying that is I was thinking, man, like, that girl was probably thinking, oh, I get to be in Whiplash or whatever, and I was like, wait a second, she gets I know it was an indie movie, but she got like 3 scenes where we actually see her. I was like,
they probably filmed more.
They probably did, and then but she didn't get to be in it. And
honestly, I think that those scenes were like some of the weakest scenes of the movie.
Right, and it was necessary.
They don't feel like it was like a necessary piece of of like his character, because they had to break up, but like their scenes together, like I didn't buy them as like liking each other at all.
Sure.
I didn't feel like they had any chemistry
because we didn't see them go on dates or anything.
But even when they were together, and like their dialogue with each other is probably the most poorly written of it wasn't bad. I'm just saying it was the least.
I thought the scene where he asked her out was kind of cute. I thought that was.
I remember like whenever they're together, there's a lot of awkward silence.
There's only 2 scenes where we see them together, except when he asks her out.
Yeah, but any scenes they have together, there's a lot of awkward silence.
There's no scenes, man.
And
yes, the first date there was awkward silence, but that's because it was a first date.
But when he asked her out too, like I remember, he's
awkward because he's socially awkward. He doesn't have any friends. Remember?
Yeah.
We find out that he doesn't have any friends later.
Yeah, and then you find out she doesn't have any friends, which is kind of why they have a connection, sort of.
Yeah, but that all happened on the first date.
Yeah, either way. I mean, that was fine. I'm just saying that was kind of the scene.
You're saying that the scene with the dinner thing felt like there was no build-up to it, and I think there was a build-up. Maybe it was even filmed, but again, they had to fit a very lengthy thing into
the breakup scene or the dinner scene where his family comes in.
The dinner scene with his family. You were saying there was no build-up to him snapping, and I think there might have been some stuff filmed there or something, but they really had to.
No, I think that's just where they wanted to reveal that he's got this.
Maybe
he's got this arrogance.
Either way, the movie felt a little bit rushed in that sense, and I get it because they had a long timeline
I thought
to
it was
fill.
dragging.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I just wanted to.
Get out of my studio. But yeah, it was a good movie though. Otherwise, I want to watch it again.
I didn't really like it.
Shut up.
It was.
I felt so bad for the kid. who didn't know if he was flat. Oh, I felt bad for him.
Dude, he wasn't. Oh,
I know.
yeah, he
I
didn't
felt
know.
so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Man. Oh.
Yeah, but I didn't like it though. It was not quite my tempo.
Shut up. What was awesome about that, and apparently the jazz community actually didn't like this movie.
Why not?
But they said because
Of course.
Because what?
Haters gonna hate.
Okay, we can talk about that too. The one reason I don't really like the jazz community is because they're so stuck up and stuff, and I've really thought this about it, and I'm like, man, jazz musicians are like the worst. Like, obviously they're really talented and stuff, but they're so, they're just so stuck up about their music thinking it's the best. But after watching that movie, I'm like, screw that, I want to be the best too, you know?
Those guys
I don't
are
care.
good.
Yeah, like, I don't care anyways, I can be stuck up anyways. So that didn't bother me, but, crap, what were we talking about? We said something, we were talking about the guy feeling bad for him, and then, we were talking about, you said he wasn't his tempo, and it reminded me of that scene. What was cool about that scene, and how the jazz community didn't like...
What scene?
First of all, the jazz community didn't like it because they were saying, because the movie has this idea that he practiced really hard to get where he was, and the jazz community is like, look, you can practice 10, 20,000 hours, and you can actually not be as good as us. Basically, because jazz has something else to it, and I'm like, whatever. But the main scene where he's like, are you rushing or dragging? And he's like, no, not my tempo. What I thought was so cool about that
The one where he slaps him?
Yeah, the kid, if you're listening to it, the kid sounded on tempo. Unless you're like super like, unless you have like a perfect ear and like you know what's going on, the kid sounded on tempo. And I thought that was so cool. It's like, this kid is actually like, sounds on tempo, but they're really demonstrating to us like how strict this J.K. Simmons guy is. He can tell that there's something off here. I thought that was so cool. I was like, geez, because I
like the part where he
couldn't hear what was
slaps him.
going on. Why?
It's just funny.
Oh, and he was slapping him on tempo too?
No,
right?
off tempo, and then he was like, was I rushing? He was like dragging. And then I also like that scene where there was like, he brought in like the other two drummers, and like nobody could get it right, and then he just has them each try it like 1,000 times into the night.
And then they showed the clock. Do you notice when they showed the clock after that scene?
Yeah, everyone looks at it all the time.
No.
What do you mean? What's
at the end of you're talking about the scene where they had all three and he finally practices it and gets it and he's all bleeding and stuff. What were you saying you liked about that scene?
The whole thing.
Okay, so you like that scene and blah blah blah, and they were like, "Oh, clean the blood off my drums," right? Alternates. He says, "Alternates, clean the blood off my drums." But what I noticed was really cool was what time that was when they first started practicing Caravan. What time? Do you remember what time he told them to meet to practice Caravan?
No.
It was 9 p.m. Right? It was 9 p.m. And he said, "We're gonna be here all night until someone gets this right." And then after everything happens, they show the clock, and it says 2 a.m. So they were all three of those drummers. The other musicians come back in at 2 a.m. So they were practicing that for 5 hours, and I thought that was pretty cute how they showed that.
You think it's cute that they showed how long they were practicing?
I thought it was cute that they actually added it in, that they showed 2 a.m. and then if they had mentioned before that was 9 p.m. and I was like, so we know actually how long it took them for all three of them for one person to get it right. I thought that was really cool.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was cute.
Seems like that's probably the best way.
Right, but you didn't notice it.
I didn't remember the exact time. I remember them looking at the clock and them showing the hours passing by.
No, they didn't show the hours passing by.
Yeah, you can see the clock in the background.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay, well I didn't notice that.
I thought they flashed to it more than once.
I don't think so. I think it was only at the end when all the other musicians were coming in.
Well, either way, it's implied via the sweat and like the fact that the other musicians are leaving. Like,
yeah, but
you
there's
can feel that.
There's a difference between 5 hours. Like it could have been like 3 hours, but that was like 5 hours. He was, but what I thought it was interesting about that scene was, I don't think music really works like that in the sense that you could sit and practice something for 5 hours straight until someone gets it right. Like, they're just not going to get it right. You're going to have to come back the next day or something.
Yeah. Plus, like
especially when it's just a speed thing. That was literally just a speed thing. That wasn't a.
Plus, like somebody, like when you're practicing music, like you might be able to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might happen to get it right once.
Yeah, exactly.
But that doesn't mean that like you're going to be able to do that the actual right way every single time.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't mean you actually know it.
Yeah, it does not mean that at all.
Which is what like you need to be able to do it exactly right every time. That's when you've actually got it, not like when you happen to like hit everything that one time.
Yeah, that's true. Especially with a speed thing. If you reach a maximum speed, because I'm guessing they're all just trying to rush to the exact speed, and because it was at like 312 BPM or something. They said it was like in the 300s or something. And when he actually gets the speed, it's like, okay, if he's reached his max speed, there is no way he's keeping up that max speed if he's been practicing for 5 hours and it's now bleeding still.
Yeah, plus the longer you practice, the less likely you're actually going to be able to do it.
Yeah, because you get worn out.
More tired.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I guess it doesn't actually make a lot of sense, but
no,
it was a cool scene though.
What they would have had to do, spoiler alert, this is what real musicians have to do, is you have to sit down with a metronome at a slow speed, practice, get it perfect, move it up 5 BPM, do the same thing, move it up 5 BPM, do the same thing, and that's how you gain speed. You don't do it in 5 hours.
Remember that scene where J.K. Simmons tells him the wrong song, and he's like trying to ad-lib it?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
What was...
I saw this on Reddit the other day. Every scene is staged. Every shot that you see Miles Teller with another person, it's staged with something in between them.
Why?
I don't know. I guess it's like a visual representation of the isolation, because that's sort of a theme of the movie. J.K. Simmons thinks that like you can't, like greatness requires some sort of isolation.
What about the scene at the very beginning where J.K. Simmons is asking him about his parents and stuff just so he can crap all over him later?
Yeah, there's like the kit between him.
It was like a first aid kit on the wall or something?
No. When he the first time he talks to him.
The first time he talks to him, he takes him out into the before they practice something. They're in a hallway.
Yeah, they're in a hallway. Yeah, I think there was something on the wall there.
Oh, okay.
It's anything physically separate, but like visually, there's always like an object in between him.
Right.
Even when he's like when he's talking to his dad, when his dad's in the movie theater, there's like a bucket of popcorn like visually separating them. And then there's one scene where he's talking to his dad in his apartment, and there's like a door. And the only time that there isn't is after J.K. Simmons gives him the wrong music, and he goes and he hugs his dad. That's the only time you actually physically see him unseparated by somebody. But then, whenever he goes back out there, you see his dad looking at him through a door, like through the crack of a doorway.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's like, the isolation and whatnot.
That ending scene also felt a little bit rushed, but I thought that it was. I mean,
rushed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a long scene. I thought it was over like 2 or 3
Well,
times.
I was fully expecting them to end the. Well, I think everyone was after the drum solo, because he said, "I'll cue you in." I was expecting them all to just like end with Whiplash, but they didn't. But the scene.
What was that song? Caravan.
They played Caravan, and then he just went into his huge drum solo that he ended it with. But what was weird is when he started playing Caravan.
No, I think he ended it with everybody. Didn't he?
They ended it on like one note, yeah. But when he ended it, when he started playing Caravan, and he looks at the bassist and he's like, "I'll cue you in," and they started playing Caravan. J.K. Simmons is like, "What are you doing?" And then he walks over again. He's like, "I'll gouge your eyes out." And then the kid moves into the drum solo and stuff. And J.K. Simmons is just like, "All right, this is happening," and then they become friends because he's doing a really good drum solo. I don't know. I thought it was weird.
It's exactly like he told him in that diner that J.K. Simmons was playing at.
What do you mean? What?
Yeah, remember
what did he tell him?
He said that the next Miles Davis or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What was that guy that they kept referring?
I don't know who they kept referencing.
They kept referencing an album.
Yeah, and I tried to remember what it was, but I couldn't. I'm gonna watch it again.
Well, then we never would have gotten this album.
I'm gonna watch it again and write down every artist that they mentioned, because I've been listening to a lot of
Well, anyway, what he tells him that
stuff,
he says like he's like, I was just trying to find like, the next great or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, don't you think you might discourage the next great from becoming the next great?
Yeah.
He's like, no, the next great guy won't be able to be discouraged or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he was. So basically, anytime J.K. is being like a super dick,
which is the whole movie.
Yeah, it's in his mind, it's justified in that. Well, I just need to be the worst because the best. The best musician will be able to take this or whatever.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. When they took
and Miles Teller proves it whenever.
Yes.
Whenever he at the end where he doesn't stop.
That kid actually plays drums, right?
He hadn't. Well, I've heard that he had and he hadn't before or something like he played a little bit in high school or something, but. Yeah, a lot of that is him playing. Obviously, you see him playing a lot, but none of that is actually him though.
Really?
What you're hearing, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's all dubbed over with a real guy.
Oh, well, okay. What and?
But obviously, the stuff when you see him actually playing, he's basically getting it.
Yeah.
Like he's almost doing it pretty much exactly right.
And the last thing I thought was cute was or not cute, but and I'm gonna get on. I'll try not to get on a high horse about this, but a lot of the things that they mentioned were speed when they were talking about like his drumming and stuff. They were talking about like how fast he needed to go and stuff. And I thought about it, I was like, and people always talk about how like amazing jazz musicians are and stuff, and I'm like, man, the speeds that they are playing, like just stick a death metal drummer on here and he can do this no issue. Like the weird tempos and stuff, like tech drummers do that all the time, and I was like, I don't get this. And I'm trying not to be on a high horse about it, but what would be really cool is like
I say just hop on that pony and ride it.
What I was thinking is I would like to go to one of those people who's like super into jazz and like only jazz and they despise rock and stuff and like show them like really technical metal and see what they say about it.
Oh yeah.
And I know it's so
shut them up real good.
No, it's not saying that the metal's better than what they're doing. It's just like I'm curious.
It's just that they're
because I can't
human.
I just can't figure out what it is about like jazz that's considered so much more technical than the stuff we have today. It's a good song.
There's a lot of technicality in both genres.
Yes.
But jazz is definitely way more accessible.
What do you mean?
To the
to the average person?
Like if you let's say you took a person that never listened to either genre.
Right.
Ever. And you just showed them both.
Yeah, they'd probably like jazz better.
They'd probably like that jazz pretty fine.
That's true. It's definitely like a huge acquired taste for like technical music.
Yeah, but I think even, just listen.
Yeah, because that's melodic. But.
I'm sorry.
But.
See, somebody
But that's also melodic, where I know people, my mom and one of my sisters for instance, they don't like jazz, and what I think is if they listen to that, they would be like, yeah, that's catchy, but that's melodic like jazz. Like I've been listening, as I said, to Paul Denson, and his stuff isn't actually melodic. It's just like really chill, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If something's not melodic, it's going to be harder to listen to, and I think that's the main argument. Where if something is melodic...
So, yeah, that was my point. It's easier listening,
Yeah, but you can have technical metal that's melodic, too.
I don't know. Can you?
Anti-Cosmic Overload by...
Is it really metal at that point, though? If it's not grating on your ears? I mean, listen to this. See? See what I'm saying?
What did you look up?
You see what I'm saying?
You're hiding it from me. What did you look up?
Here, let me skip forward. See,
It sounds like Animals as Leaders. It's Animals as Leaders.
do you want to listen to that or to this?
Both. I listen to both, actually.
Actually, yeah, Tossin Avasi is not that. That's pretty accessible.
So it was Animals as Leaders?
Yeah.
Okay, it sounded like them. It's that guitar tone.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm pretty tired.
Yep.
So, finger guns.
The usual.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.